So I get a lot of flack about how I dress when I'm in wild places on the trail, camping, hiking, whatever it may be. But this is what works for me. This is how I've carried myself since I was a wee lad. I get comments all the time about, like, aren't you worried about snakes? Like, why don't you wear snake boots and all that kind of stuff, snake chaps? Listen, I understand. I'm very, very aware of the possibility of a snake being on the trail, off the trail, wherever it may be. Very, very aware of that and the dangers that come along with poisonous, venomous snakes like the copperheads that are all over the place around here. But I'm also constantly scanning the ground where I put my feet. It's just like second nature. I don't have to think about it. I'm not thinking, oh, snake, 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 snake. I'm constantly looking. Wherever I put my foot, wherever I put my hands, I'm always looking for snakes. And I think if you just have that mindset and you develop that over time, over years and years, then just becomes second nature and it's not really anything to worry about. So that's why I wear sandals a lot of the time in the summertime. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. I do like to wear long pants though, and the long pants is for a whole separate set of reasons. It's not for snake prevention or anything like that. It's mostly for mosquitoes, which are irritating, no-see-ums when they bite the back of your knees and stuff like that. But around here in wet areas like this, it's for stinging nettle. Stinging nettle sucks if you've ever walked through it in bare legs. This, all here, all of this is stinging nettle. And if you walk through this, a big thicket of these with bare legs, bare feet, whatever, you'll know it because they'll light you up. The underside of the leaves, as well as the stem itself, the main trunk of each branch and the main trunk of the stem, all have these tiny little stinging hairs on the undersides of them. On the underside of the leaves and all the way down here, you'll see these tiny stinging hairs. And man, it sucks when you walk into them. I'll show you what it does to you. I'll put it on my arm just for demonstration purposes. So the underside of the leaf, I'll put it right here on my arm. Yeah. Not terrible. I've gotten into some that are worse than others, but you could feel the stinging sensations when they get on your arm. It'll leave little red welts and stuff on you when it really gets to you. So here you can see my forearm after a couple minutes after being stung. The initial sting is painful, not too bad, but now that it's over, it's just itchy. It's just irritating and itchy, and that's pretty much it. It leaves these red welts on your arm. And that's about 5 minutes or so after getting stung by the nettle. Still itches, but it's not too bad. So this has been about 15 minutes, give or take. The itching is pretty much all gone, but the big welts are definitely still there. This plant is actually edible. The leaves are edible. The stems are probably edible too. Don't quote me on that, but I know the leaves are edible. I've eaten them before. You can kind of just roast them over the fire, and it gets rid of all the stinging little hairs on there. Or you can boil it, cook it like spinach. That works too. There's really long, strong fibers that run the length of the stem, and that was traditionally used to lash fletchings onto arrows because it's a strong, really fine fiber, and it works good for that. So it's good for cordage, it's edible. Stinging nettle has also been a natural remedy for all sorts of problems from eczema and arthritis. It's been used for anti-inflammatory purposes, urinary tract issues. It's even been used to treat enlarged prostates. But make sure you do your research and don't just go out there and give it a go without doing a full amount of research, and make sure you can really positively identify any plant before using it. this is a plant called seven bark that's actually the cure for the brown recluse bite. Learned that from Mr. Alan Kay. It looks a little bit like stinging nettle, but it is not stinging nettle. It has no stinging hairs or anything like that. But if you scratch the bark, like down here where it's brown, if you scratch the bark right underneath it, you'll see a green layer. See that green layer of this papery brown bark? That green layer is actually the remedy for the brown recluse bite. And you would apply it in its green state like that. Get enough to cover the bite. And it's got this slicky, slimy, kind of mucusy feel to it, and that is the remedy. So I was born not too far from here, and I would tell you where it is, but then so I harvested a whole bunch of stinging nettle one time to make some cordage, and I was and as I did it, just processing it down, I didn't have gloves on or anything. The ends of my fingers, these two fingers specifically, went completely numb. I couldn't even feel my fingers. It was really strange, but if you wear gloves, you can process it down real quick and kind of knock off all those stinging fibers or stinging little hairs, and it's not too bad. All right, so this is a broadleaf plantain. You can tell because it's got this really nice wide leaf. It's got these very apparent veins kind of running down it, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So if you chew up the plantain and you put it on a sting like my son Elijah just got, it has some drawing abilities and can soothe a sting like this one right there. I don't know what he got stung by, a wasp or hornet, something like that, but you can see his sting. But chew it up good. Stick that on there. Elijah, I just want you to hold that on there, okay? There you go. And that's the broadleaf plantain. The narrow leaf plantain, I think, is actually better, a more astringent quality, but this will get the job done. All right, guys, I'm Jason Salyer. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and we'll see you on the next one.